Hi, my name is Mark Pierce, and today in this short and controversial video, I'll tell you a life-changing story about how I figured out how to easily generate whopping amounts of electricity and power my home for the past 5 years. I'm talking about a simple device that can be used by any family around the world to generate as much electricity as they want on just 12 square feet of space, even if you don't have a backyard. Over the past year, over 37,311 people have also already successfully used the very same technique to get over tragic milestones such as hurricanes, snowstorms, or floods. Based on technology that's already in use all over the world, not only can it generate enough electricity to keep even a 4-bedroom home heated to a balmy 77 degrees, regardless of if it's below zero outside, but it can ameliorate your power bill all year long. I'm sure you're already intrigued, and you want to know all about how this system works. Honestly, it's like nothing you've ever seen, and in a few minutes from now you'll be outraged that you put a single penny into the golden coffers of the greedy power corporations. So you absolutely need to watch this short presentation today while it's still up. I don't know how much longer I'll have this free presentation online, so watch this right now while you still can. Before we continue, let me tell you who I am and how it all started. As I mentioned, my name is Mark Pierce. I'm a 43-year-old utility worker, and I live near San Diego, California with my beautiful wife and our 9-year-old son, James. If you've ever been to California, then you know that it gets really hot in the summer. Above 80 degrees is normal, and even on a good day, just taking out the trash can feel like walking in an oven. And short power outages and blackouts are something we've been dealing with for years, especially as energy-sucking air conditioners blast during the scorching summer heat. And I've certainly never liked having to pay $300 or more every single month to keep my home warm during the winter or cool during the summer. However, I'd always accepted that that's the way it's going to be. In the mid-September of 2008, however, all of that changed. At about 3:30 p.m. on September 8th, we suddenly found that we were without power. And while a power outage may feel like an inconvenience for most people, for us it recently became a matter of life and death, because our son James was diagnosed with a chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and is dependent on his electric home oxygen concentrator. I knew from experience that an outage won't last more than a couple of hours. I thought to myself, we'll be okay, it's just a maintenance thing. So I fired up the generator and waited for the authorities to get the juice flowing again, not knowing that that night was going to turn into a gut-wrenching crisis that would change our lives forever. Around midnight, I woke up to the sound of our generator choking and sputtering. It just died and there was still no power. I tried calling 911 and the power company on my cell phone to find out when power would be restored, and found out that this wasn't just another power outage. A botched maintenance procedure at a transmission switch knocked out power in the entire Southwest, and that it could be between 48 and 72 hours before power would be back online. No one cared this time if you were on a critical list. They couldn't. It was too broad. I instantly felt a shiver down my spine and went to check on my wife and son. And what I saw made me freeze in my tracks. Sarah was holding James' hand, rocking back and forth, and sheer desperation was all I could see on her face as tears ran down her cheeks uncontrollably. I rushed to them and wrapped my arms around them in a futile attempt to assure them everything was going to be okay and help was probably on the way. And that's when she said the words that made my heart stop. "He can't breathe," she said. My son's face was turning deathly white, and he could barely keep his eyes open. I instantly burst into tears. It was the single most devastating moment of all my life. I immediately loaded James and his medical equipment into the family van and rushed to the hospital. The outage knocked out traffic lights, causing gridlock on the roads. Gas stations were closed. House alarms shrilled. Everyone was in full disaster mode. It was mad chaos. We barely made it to the hospital. That night, as I lay next to James holding his numb hand in mine, staring at the hospital ceiling, I felt my stomach lurch. I felt powerless. I felt like such a failure. I was his dad. I had vowed to take care of him, to protect him. I felt worthless for letting him down, downhearted and overwhelmed with guilt for letting my little boy and my family get into this position and suffer in the first place. I swore right then and there that I would never put my wife and son in a similar situation ever again. When the power finally came back on, I dusted myself off, and immediately began researching every single alternative I could find that would help my family escape the electric company's monopoly on our safety. Because clearly relying on the power company for the security and comfort of my family just wasn't an option anymore. Not only did their power line always seem to go down during the smallest weather events, but there's also a surge in power grid attacks lately, further straining the sprawling and aging network, and authorities say no utility has the ability to prevent this from happening. For many of the growing millions who depend on home medical equipment, a power outage goes way beyond the inconvenience most people feel. It could be deadly. And on top of all that, the officials shamingly admitted if someone has a power requirement for life and death, the individual is responsible for coming up with their own backup plans. Obviously, I couldn't rely on a gas generator, even if they gave me the gas for free. I couldn't rely on solar panels either, even if I had 20,000 or more lying around, which I certainly didn't. There's also maintenance, snow, and all the space they take, plus risking your life climbing on the roof to clean them. It's a nightmare when winter comes or when the winds really pick up. There was really only one option left for me. If I wanted to make sure my family will never go through such an experience again, I'd need to do everything I can to create my own solution. I needed something that would give me and my family energy on demand without the unreliability of our grid or the financial nightmare of installing solar panels. Something that would be reliable, both in the comfort of our home or if, God forbid, we had to bug out and leave everything behind to save our lives. For almost a month, I frenetically read everything that can be found on the internet. I buried myself into countless pages, studies, and forums. I spoke to researchers, scientists, professors, and even university students for advice. But there was nothing new under the sun. So I locked myself into my study, sat down in my favorite chair, and decided to use my noggin and find a solution. I had to start thinking outside the box. I got really excited from time to time, but also frustrated. All the stuff I could find was either confusing or downright worthless. I read academic and complex books that lacked essential details, and the people I talked to couldn't help me even if we shared the same goal. Many sleepless nights passed, and I was getting tired of surfing the internet for a simple solution. I was running out of options, and I was close to giving up. That night, I prayed to God for a miracle, and I know He heard us, because what happened next was the most bizarre and eye-opening moment of my life, and the breakthrough I needed so desperately, because that one night, I struck gold. A little-known study published by Cambridge University. It was brilliant. A nature-inspired, unconventional, small solar sphere for 3D light harvesting that was tested with great success. The humble housefly provided the blueprint for this concept, specifically its eyes. Evolution has selected a location and shape that increases the fly's angular field of view to about 270 degrees around itself. That's why you keep missing them with your rolled-up newspaper. In the same way, the design of this solar sphere also increases the angular field of view, allowing it to capture sunlight three-dimensionally. Instead of going for the usual flat side-by-side layout, the new solar setup was designed into a round shape. The new shape allows the system to absorb more light from nearly every angle over the course of a day than conventional solar panels do, and therefore generate more power. The breakthrough design will significantly increase the power output by 101% compared to a traditional flat panel on just 5% of the given footprint. But even though it was innovative, it was still about the size of a pool ball, and there was no way it could power my 4-bedroom home. And that was when lightning struck my brain. What if I could build a larger version of this solar sphere? So I began spending every waking hour thinking of the best way to build this. But there was a problem. The invention was not meant for DIYers. Simple as it was still pretty difficult to build for the average guy. After 2 months, I was exhausted and didn't even have a working prototype, and it had already cost me over $1,400 in trial and errors. I needed help. I reckoned that if I was going to make sure I never let my family down again and to get us safe forever, I needed to find someone who will build this for me, and at the same time take the original design and fine-tune it so it will be something cheap, reliable, and also very easy to put together at the same time. I went back to the drawing board and kept scouring online engineering journals and forums for help. I chatted with off-grid folks, engineers, designers, and anyone who would talk to me, and kept coming up empty. I felt like I'd hit a brick wall, and after weeks of research, I was nowhere. Until I'd left online forums and message boards, I spoke with a man I'll call Craig, who asked to remain anonymous to protect his identity. For 12 years, Craig had been working at one of America's biggest solar panel companies, with a revenue of over $500 million. You know, the kind that sends greasy salesmen knocking on your door promising all kinds of wild stuff, until he became sick of what the solar industry had become and was fired for finally speaking up against his greedy CEOs and voicing his concerns. And it was because, in his own words, the whole industry was a giant and deliberate fraud which makes billions every year not by helping you reduce your energy bill, but by actively forcing you to pay more. They keep you trapped in a legal game, hiding behind outrageous claims, encouraging you to let them install inefficient, disgustingly overpriced solar panels on your roof. Sound familiar? Well, Craig couldn't stand taking part in this game, as his life goal was to save the planet and offer our children a better life, not to enslave them for life. And when I told him what I was trying to accomplish, he was really intrigued by my endeavor. I shared the humiliating circumstances behind why this was so important to me. I told him all about my son James's struggle with the power-dependent breathing equipment, how he almost lost his life in that awful day, and begged him for his help. Fortunately, Craig was a pretty good guy and a family man himself. As a solar engineer, he had electricity running through his veins and all the resources he needed to do it. And setting his goal to help humankind, as he said, he dedicated his life to discovering new technology. He's also the kind of person who loves a hard problem to solve. He was so excited to hear about my discovery. Your research is 100% correct. Scientists have wondered for years if it's even possible for you to increase the efficiency of flat solar setups and reduce the space. But I'm 100% sure you can after building this system, he said. So every day after work, Craig and I got together and worked on this project. We both knew that whatever we came up with had to be incredibly cheap to assemble. And I was also adamant that the system was also very easy to put together, so that if God forbid something was going to happen to me, my wife or my teenage son James could make one without any problem whatsoever. The first prototypes we made were either too expensive or way too complicated. We had some heated arguments, mainly because of me being stubborn. I needed the system to be cheap and simple. But finally, after more than 2 months and more than 7 discarded variations, we finally came up with a prototype that seemed to be what we were looking for. The design was brilliant, and we managed to build it with around $200 worth of materials from Home Depot. However, I'm sure we could have found some parts at a junkyard for free if we weren't in a rush. But the most important part is that it was incredibly simple to put together. You simply had to place the components in the correct position. And because of the ingenious way the device was designed, the system was sucking up sunlight with lightning speed, turning into a green, cheap electricity you could use on the spot. Even more, the system was actually incredibly easy to hook up to your home's current energy source, even if you're terrible at building stuff and have trouble plugging in a DVD player to your TV. The next step was to test it out and to see if it really worked as well as we thought it would. So we started the device, and I stood watching in complete amazement. The system reached optimum performance because of the brilliant design Craig had come up with. It was providing a steady, robust supply of electricity right into my home. I could hardly contain my excitement of what we had accomplished, of not just having all the electricity we needed to run the refrigerator, the dishwasher, the TV, and all the lights in our home with no problem whatsoever, but also the insurance this would give us should disaster hit. In truth, I almost couldn't believe how simple all of this was. It ran perfectly. I got more than 100% efficiency of the conventional solar panels on just 12 square feet. All it had taken me was about 2 hours of my time, and about $200 in initial costs. The meter was moving slower than molasses, and when that bill came at the end of the month, well, you could have knocked me over with a feather. The very first month, I managed to cut my electricity bill by a shocking 73%, and my family was safe and energy independent. I love the fact that I was teaching my son James such a great lesson about not being dependent on the government or any corporations for his safety. and I felt so relieved to know that he will always grow in a warm, safe, and comfortable home. Well, before long, my friends and family members were begging to know my secret. And when I showed them the simple, clever home power plant I'd created, a lot of them had a hard time believing something so small could be generating energy on demand. But after I'd given them the simple building instructions that I had come up with, and they'd followed them and created their own home power plant in about the time it takes to assemble an IKEA chair, they became believers fast. And the results were the same over and over, an abundance of clean, easy energy that they could use to power their entire home. They loved knowing that they would never have to rely on anyone or anything for their power, even if a disaster turned the outside world upside down. Soon my friends were telling their friends about my little personal home power plant, until finally the number of phone calls and emails from people asking me to share the blueprints with them became so overwhelming, my wife put her foot down and told me that I had to find a better way to share this life-saving knowledge with the world. So I went to work writing out the blueprints, the materials list, and making a follow-along video guide showing the construction process in simple steps. And that's how the Solar Innovator was born. It's the only proven, exclusive, step-by-step program showing you exactly how to create your own home power plant today and how to drastically slash your monthly electric bill by 50%, 75% or more from the very first month. And it's been specifically created so that anyone with one hand can do it. As long as you understand how to turn a screwdriver, play a video, and can somewhat speak English, you can set up this system no problem. In fact, you'll be shocked by how few steps there actually are, and how short the list of materials you need to build this is. You'll see exactly what those steps are, along with professionally designed blueprints that will help you build the system from start to finish. And even though it wasn't cheap for me to conceive this system, I put a lot of time, money, and effort into it, I think it's extremely valuable. We wrote and recorded these easy step-by-step, take-you-by-the-hand instructions so you can generate cheap, green electricity for your family, no matter the scenario, and you can download the files to your computer, tablet, or smartphone. Just look at what you'll receive today inside the Solar Innovator system. How this simple method allows you to create your very own non-stop, unrestricted power supply. And you'll discover just how incredibly easy it is to put it together for less than $200 in total costs, and in under 2 hours of your time. Get savings of 50%, 75% or more once you discover the foolproof way to build your own high-efficiency system that works even from inside, and find out exactly where to place it to absorb sunlight like a sponge sucks up water. You'll enjoy even greater savings once you discover the 3 tiny essential power tweaks you can make in less than 20 minutes that will maximize your power output by nearly 200%. You'll be able to power any kind of household appliances, from lamps and toasters to electricity hogs like refrigerators and AC units, without ever needing the grid. You'll feel the peace of mind that comes from knowing that should anything happen, from a mere broken power line to a nationwide blackout or worse, you and your family will be safe, warm and well fed, and won't be at the mercy of others. What's more, because Solar Innovator is very light and portable, it makes for one of the best emergency power supplies you could ever hope for. Unlike conventional solar panels, it won't get blown off the roof by strong winds and hurricanes. And unlike portable generators, there are no fumes, and you don't have to spend hundreds of dollars on fuel. In fact, there's very little to spend at all. Except for a simple maintenance check every few months, the system is basically set and forget. And because of its unique system, Solar Innovator only needs a fraction of the space used for conventional solar panels. You can install it on your terrace or balcony, or even place it by your window and not worry about weather conditions for 1 second. And even if the SHTF, you'll still be able to have enough electricity for cooking and preserving your food, while others will beg for a leaf of rotten bread. That's just a glimpse of what Solar Innovator will do for you. To date, more than 37,311 families have used this exact same system to permanently ditch their energy suppliers. So with all of that being said, I want you to pause and think about this for a second. Just imagine having all of your electrical appliances powered by green, cheap energy. No more paying through the nose on electricity just to make the fat cats even fatter. Turn on the AC as often as you want, without having to constantly hear the nagging voice inside your head telling you that you need to turn it off because you'll end up paying a fortune. And no, you'll never have to spend a single dime to companies that could care less about your family's safety and well-being. Imagine how proud you are going to be when you join the ranks of the 37,311 other freedom fighters who have already decided they are fed up with the price gauged every time it gets hot or cold outside. In just 1 hour from now, you can have the only endless energy supply you'll ever need and can enjoy real savings in electricity from your own home power plant in a few short days. And you'll save hundreds of dollars each month and thousands each year. And this is my promise to you. If you use the over-the-shoulder video guides, the step-by-step instructions, the illustrated blueprints, and the materials cheat sheet I'm giving you, you will create a device that generates electricity day in and day out, so you can slash your bill by 50%, 70%, or even more. And given all of that, how much is it worth to you to literally get green, cheap electricity for good? Well, first of all, let me be clear about it. There is no system like this available anywhere in the world. The Solar Innovator is the sum of considerable expertise in this field and the contribution of a brilliant engineer. And beyond all the technical innovations that have gone into making this simple and easy-to-use system, you'll also need to understand that this is about more than just electricity. It's about keeping your family safe. The reason I am so passionate about getting the Solar Innovator into your hands is that I never want you to go through what I went through. I want to give you the opportunity today to make sure that your home is filled with warmth and love, especially when you can do it without ever having to send another dime to the same corporations who are getting rich off your family's financial struggles. Ultimately, this is about taking action today. So I'm not going to ask you to invest $1,000 for the secret, even though I know it's worth at least that. It won't cost you $500 either. I want to let as many people as possible in and help them break free from the ropes and chains of the government and corporations. That's why, if you act right now and only on this page, I will let you have the Solar Innovator system, including the manual, the schematics, the parts list, and all of the step-by-step video guides for a single payment of just $39. But the only way to secure your spot in the program is to click the Add to Cart button below now. I can't guarantee that I can keep this price for longer, especially since I'm giving away unlimited lifetime email support. So don't get mad if you come back in a few days and see that the price has gone up. And really, the price doesn't even matter. That's because you're covered by my no questions asked money-back guarantee for 60 full days. It's simple. Get the blueprints today and put them to the test. See how easy it is to make your own electricity with the Solar Innovator system. Feel the peace of mind that comes with knowing you don't owe anyone a red cent. And see what it's like to take your electricity bill down to almost nothing by the end of the month. You have 60 days to decide whether this was a good investment or not. And if you're less than thrilled with how much you're saving on electricity, just write me a short email at the address you'll find in the members area. I'll give you an immediate refund, even if it's the 23rd hour of the 59th day. The Solar Innovator will help you save hundreds of dollars each month. You won't need expensive generators, and it's so portable you can even take it with you on your trips. Instead of paying thousands of dollars on bulky, inefficient generators, you can pocket the savings and spend it on more important things. You're finally free and independent, no longer trapped inside a legal monopoly that's holding you at gunpoint. Now you have the chance to join us all in the fight to take back our energy freedom. And you have a full 60 days to try before you buy. Right now, you're at a crossroads that's going to affect not just your bank account, but your happiness, your security, and the safety of your family for years to come. And the way I see it, 3 paths lie ahead of you. The first thing is to do like most people, take no action, do nothing, and hope that nothing bad will happen. Let this video end, leave this site behind, and keep feeling like you're going to have a heart attack every time you open your electric bill. Keep acting like a power Nazi around the house, constantly worrying about every last watt of power. Keep sweating your way through the summers and freezing your way through the winters, all because you want to save a few bucks. Keep contributing to the problem, gobbling up our natural resources and keeping us addicted to foreign sources of power. Of course, there's a second path. That is, to take what you've learned today and try to figure out your own system for creating real power for your home. Honestly, you can try this. But would you rather reinvent the wheel every time you leave the house, or would you rather just climb into your car and get to where you're going? It took us a lot of time, effort, energy, and work to put together the Solar Innovator system, to test it and to make sure that even non-technical folks could follow it and use it. And it's way too easy to mess this up and spend a lot of money while you're experimenting. Just buy the wrong kind of panel, or forget a particular part, and you'll end up with a really fancy lawn ornament that does not generate a single watt. Now, if you really want to be self-sufficient and not at the mercy of big electric companies, then you should seriously consider path number 3. Let me take all the risk for you. Do what over 37,311 families have already done. Grab your copy of the Solar Innovator system. See how fun it is to start generating power for you and your family in shockingly little time. And with my generous 60-day guarantee, there's really no way you can lose. Just click the orange Add to Cart button that you see below. You'll be brought right to our secure order page, and you'll be able to grab your copy of the Solar Innovator system and all of the bonuses at a whopping discount right away. So you need to act fast if you don't want to miss out on the opportunity of a lifetime. Join the 37,311 thrilled families who have realized there is a better, simpler, and a more cost-effective way to power their homes. The bottom line is, you need to get in fast while you still can to get your hands on this incredible technology. Still here? I want you to be 100% confident in your decision to order the Solar Innovator system today. So let's answer some common questions I get. Question: if the Solar Innovator works so well, why aren't more people using it? Answer: there are more than 37,311 happy families already using the Solar Innovator system, but every serious prepper that uses it won't brag about it. For some, it's the fear factor. Most people think that it is too complex to build. Fact is, the Solar Innovator system is easy when you have the proper blueprint. Question: how hard will this be to make? Answer: this is so simple and easy to build, you'll kick yourself for not taking up the Solar Innovator system earlier. The whole thing takes 3 hours, doesn't require strength and electric school. That's all, and really there's no excuse for not giving it a try. In fact, if you don't want to lift a finger, you can still do this. Just pay someone $50 to watch the videos and put together the Solar Innovator system for you. It's more fun than Legos, and many of our clients are saying that their children love it. Question: how long will this take? Answer: it will take you a little over 60 minutes to watch the videos, and that's it. Building the Solar Innovator takes under 3 hours if you're slow, a lot less if someone's helping you. Question: how much do the parts cost? Answer: to build a small-scale Solar Innovator, you'll need about $73 worth of parts that you can get from any electronics store. If you want to scale it up and get more electricity, you'll need more expensive parts, but you'll find that you can easily power up an entire home with under $210 in total costs. Question: what's included again? Answer: inside, you'll get my comprehensive video guide showing you exactly how to create your own home power plant today and how to slash your power bill by 50%, 75% or more from the very first month. I made this program with an over-the-shoulder approach, so it's basically like I'm there in the room helping you build it. You'll also get the videos, full-color step-by-step instructions, and the complete materials list. Plus, your investment today will come with unlimited lifetime support. That means you can email me anytime you have a question, and I'll promptly reply. Question: is this really risk-free? Answer: yes. Once you place your order, you'll have a full 60 days to check out the videos, blueprints, and instructions. Just follow along, and once you start building, your system will be up and running in around 3 hours. If at any point you are unsatisfied or change your mind about this, just send me an email and I will refund your entire investment, no questions asked. Question: is this a one-time payment? Answer: yes. Your order today is a one-time payment with no subscriptions or hidden charges. Finally, question: I'm ready. How do I get started? Answer: simply click on the Add to Cart button you see below. You'll then be taken to my 100% secure checkout page where you'll enter your order information. After you've completed your order, you'll get instant access to your personal members area right away. From there, you can instantly download everything. Remember, your order is covered by our 60-day 100% money-back guarantee, so you risk nothing at all. Plus, you'll get unlimited lifetime email support. So go ahead and seize your opportunity now by clicking the orange Add to Cart button below.